Yeah. Alright, so we're going to see the solar evaporation ponds, which are in a neighborhood called Nawab Colony. And Nawab means prince. It's anything but a princely place. But it's also the name of the man who owned the land and who sold it to the people who lived there. At least that's the story that people tell me. But the roads don't go there, so we have to go to a neighborhood next to it called New Arifnagar, where the road stops, and then we have to go on foot through the neighborhood, across the railway tracks to New Nawab Colony, and from there we'll see the solar evaporation ponds. This is a Sambhavna mini clinic, so the public health education workers come here most mornings, I believe. They used to have a doctor, but they don't have the doctor come anymore. So they train local people here in health education. And they've also built this garden where they grow medicinal herbs. They just built this last summer. So she's rolling what are called beardies, which are leaves, and they fill them with tobacco. Something called I believe she said a kandi leaf. And she rolls, for each 1,000 she gets paid 20 or 25 rupees, which might buy you 10 cups of tea.
Equivalent to about
50 cents. ये जाइल्स हैं और वार्ड हैं. So this is a solar evaporation pond that was filled in. So originally they built the pit by building an earthen wall around it. So it's not really a pit, it's just contained by this wall. And we're standing on the edge of it. And this pit they filled in with earth. So you can see some of the stones they used as fill. But first on the bottom part, they covered with a layer of plastic. Well, it was originally built with a layer of concrete, and that was supposed to contain the waste and some other substance underneath that. And of course, it promptly cracked and then leaked into the groundwater, but they kept piping it in for decades. Then they stopped, and then when they filled this in, they put another layer of plastic over it, and then more fill, gravel and soil. And then on top, this layer of plastic, and then another layer of ground over it. But you can see that people need land, so they've cut into the side here. And what you see beneath you is the contaminated soil and the layers of plastic sheeting. So it's like Dow Chemical, it's a chemical company, but they also need a geologist to dig into this and see what's going on. It's stratified. इस साइड से फिर भी जहर
वो तो जहर आएगी भाई जहर के ऊपर जहर डालोगे तो वो तो जहर बनेगा भाई जन्मा फिर.
So this is the Grand Canyon of toxic waste. You can see the stratified layers of plastic sheeting and the soil underneath it. And he counts as many as 4 layers of plastic, but I see another one here, which might be a 5th. And in between, who knows what there is. I suppose down here at the bottom is the most contaminated soil.
What do you notice there, Brian?
Huh? Yeah. Life. Zindagi hai.
हाँ इसकी जिंदगी.
We're just saying it's strange how there's no form of plant life anywhere around here.
But some weeds will live in anything, like cockroaches. आपका नाम क्या है? सलमान.
सलमान नाम है, वो काम वाम नहीं करता वो.
और अब बचपन से आपके तंग ऐसा है?
पाँच ऊंचे कर.
ऐसा भेदा हुआ था.
5 ऊंचे कर 5 चढ़ा के बता.
चिंगारी थ्रस्ट जानते हैं? चिंगारी थ्रस्ट जानते हैं? इलाज नहीं मिलता इसके लिए. He was born with these handicapped legs, born in this neighborhood. So it would take an epidemiologist to explain how and why he was born that way, but chances are maybe it was caused by the water. In any case, he can receive free physical therapy at Chingari Trust, but he doesn't know about that. So I told him to go to Sambhavna Trust, and he can get the information there. At Chingadi Trust, he'll get physical therapy for his legs.
14 साल का हो गया, उसका इलाज ही नहीं हो रहा ना, उसका काम बंद था.
Tell us what we have here, Brian.
Well, this is what the solar evaporation ponds look like before they were filled in one case, or destroyed in the second case. This is the third pond, and you can see the walls, the earthen walls that were built up, which extend around. And you can see that after the monsoon season, when it rains, it fills with water, so they bring the water buffalo in for bathing, or whatever water buffalo do in water. And I guess, what would that be, an ibis? Or an egret? Some water birds are over there.
And what was dumped in here?
Well, the toxic waste was dumped in here from the factory when it was in operation. So it settled into the ground. Now there's a layer of concrete underneath this, so I guess that would slow down the rate at which it percolates into the groundwater. But since it fills with water every year, the rainwater is carrying it back down into the, whatever remains is being carried back down into the aquifer, from which the neighborhoods draw their well water. Now then, those water buffalo are a source of milk. So who knows what's in the milk that people are drinking, or that you and I may have drank this morning. Over on the horizon is the Union Carbide factory. You can see one of the remaining buildings, and then some pipes that must have been venting smoke or gas up into the atmosphere. But from the facility, which is on the opposite side of a railway line, they piped the toxic waste to this area, which according to today's Hindustan Times was about 20 acres. And they piped it and left it on the ground until there was too much, at which point, I believe sometime in the 70s, they built these solar evaporation ponds. And so the pipeline came directly here. Carrying the toxic waste in those pipes. And people can remember seeing the pipeline, which crossed the railway line.
Done.
Okay.
हाँ चल रहा चल बच्चे का लेना चल दिख गए